What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Friday, October 22nd. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 10-game slate tonight, and we're now using this season's stats. So we got all the stats loaded in. Every team has played one game. So let's get into these picks. Let's take a look at the point guard position. So at the point guard position, I like LaMelo Ball from the Charlotte Hornets playing the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have the third worst defense overall, and they give up the second most fantasy points to opposing point guards. LaMelo Ball, he scored 59 fantasy points in his first game of the season, playing 27 minutes with a 35% usage rate. He's projected at 33.1 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score close to 40 fantasy points and get you 5 times value or more. He's $7,700 DraftKings salary, $500 more on FanDuel. This is a good matchup here. It's a fast-paced game, so I like LaMelo Ball here versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Another point guard that I like is Chris Paul from the Phoenix Suns playing the LA Lakers, who have the 10th worst defense overall. They give up the second most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Now guys, we've only played one game, so I like for there to be about 3 to 5 games played before these defensive matchup numbers and before the stats really balance out. But we only have one game to go on, so I'm just going with what's in the system right now. So Chris Paul, he scored 42 fantasy points in his first game of the season, playing 34 minutes with an 18% usage rate. He's projected at 36.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's $7,300 DraftKings salary, $700 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 225 points scored in this game, so I like Chris Paul here versus the LA Lakers. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. I like Zach LaVine from the Chicago Bulls playing the New Orleans Pelicans, who have the 12th worst defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing shooting guards, and Zach LaVine, he scored 52 fantasy points in his first game of the season, playing 33 minutes with a 31% usage rate. He's projected at 43.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.4 times value. He's $8,000 DraftKings salary, $400 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 222.5 points scored in this game, so I like Zach LaVine here versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, if you want to save a little bit of salary in your lineup, take a look at Dennis Schroeder from the Boston Celtics playing the Toronto Raptors, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing point guards or opposing shooting guards. Dennis Schroeder, he scored 31 fantasy points in his first game of the season, playing 30 minutes with a 24% usage rate. He's projected at 28.1 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 30 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He's $5,900 DraftKings salary and $200 less on FanDuel. So I like that FanDuel price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 219.5 points scored in this game, so I like Dennis Schroeder here versus the Toronto Raptors. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. You can save some more salary in your lineup with this pick. I like Kyle Kuzma from the Washington Wizards playing the Indiana Pacers, who have the 6th worst defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing small forwards, and Kyle Kuzma scored 38 fantasy points in his first game of the season, playing 33 minutes with a 24% usage rate. He's projected at 26.6 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 28 fantasy points or more and get you 5 times value or more. He's $5,700 DraftKings salary, 100 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 228.5 points scored in this game, so you got a high scoring game. So I like Kyle Kuzma here versus the Indiana Pacers. Okay, now here's a value play for you. Take a look at Josh Giddy from the Oklahoma City Thunder playing the Houston Rockets, who have the 2nd worst defense overall. They give up the 7th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Now, this is a high risk, high reward play, but Josh Giddy, he scored 21 fantasy points in his first game, playing 27 minutes with a 12% usage rate, and he's projected at 23.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.7 times value. Now, he's only $4,100 DraftKings salary, but he is $1,200 more on FanDuel, so I love that DraftKings price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 223 points scored in this game. Good matchup, high scoring game. I think he makes a great value play on FanDuel, so I like Josh Giddy here versus the Houston Rockets. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Tobias Harris from the Philadelphia 76ers playing the Brooklyn Nets, who have the 4th worst defense overall. They give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Tobias Harris scored 42 fantasy points in his first game of the season, playing 28 minutes with a 28% usage rate. He's projected at 33.7 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 36 fantasy points or more, get you 5 times value or more. He's $7,200 DraftKings salary, 400 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 229.5 points scored in this game, so a good matchup, fast-paced game, and a high-scoring game. So I like Tobias Harris here versus the Brooklyn Nets.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on.
Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, now here's another value play, high risk, high reward play. I like Franz Wagner from the Orlando Magic playing the New York Knicks, who have the worst defense overall. They've given up the most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Franz Wagner scored 26 fantasy points in 31 minutes with a 12% usage rate in his first game of the season. He's projected at 21.5 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.8 times value. He's $4,500 DraftKings salary, but he's $500 less on FanDuel. So I like that FanDuel price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 212 points scored in this game. I think it's going to be a good matchup here, and he's playing a ton of minutes. So I like Franz Wagner here versus the New York Knicks. Okay, moving on to the center position. I like Nikolai Vucevic from the Chicago Bulls playing the New Orleans Pelicans,
who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they give up the most fantasy points to opposing centers. Nikolai Vucevic, he scored 40 fantasy points in 36 minutes with a 28% usage rate in his first game of the season. He's projected at 46.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.9 times value. He's only 7,800 DraftKings salary. He's 900 more on FanDuel. It looks like that point projection is a little bit high, considering he scored 40 fantasy points in the first game of the season. I think that was a pretty good game for Nikolai Vucevic, but he could score 45 plus fantasy points in this one and crush value. So I think that makes him an interesting play. He's got a great matchup here tonight, and Vegas thinks there's going to be 222.5 points scored in this game. So I like Nikolai Vucevic here versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Okay, if you want to save some salary at the center position, take a look at Montrezl Harrell from the Washington Wizards playing the Indiana Pacers, who have the 6th worst defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing centers. Montrezl Harrell scored 37 fantasy points in 24 minutes with a 23% usage rate in his first game of the season. Now, he's only projected at 14.9 fantasy points here tonight. That projection is way too low. He should score at least 25 fantasy points in this one, but he did just have a smash game last game, so I'm not expecting 37 fantasy points again, but I am expecting 25 fantasy points or more, which would be 5 times value or more. He's 5,400 DraftKings salary, 300 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 228.5 points scored in this game, so I like Montrezl Harrell here versus the Indiana Pacers.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.